So in this camera comparison, I'm going to be comparing the new Realme X3 Super Zoom up against the K30 Pro Zoom. So both of these do have optical zoom cameras. So with the K30 Pro Zoom, the main sensor is the exact same one with the Poco F2 Pro, however, it does have optical image stabilization. It is the Sony IMX686. The zoom camera is 8 megapixels, 3 times optical as mentioned, 13 megapixel ultrawide, and a 20 megapixel front-facing camera with this one. And then on the X3 Super Zoom, it is an 8 megapixel but 5 times periscope optical camera, 8 megapixel ultrawide, and its 64 megapixel camera without any optical image stabilization is the Samsung ISO SAL. It is the GW1. So in this comparison, I'm going to be comparing side-by-side video, including audio quality, low light stills, daylight, portrait photos, and pretty much everything else you need to know about which one of these has the best camera, the best video quality, the best stability, and also audio quality. So if you are new to my channel or a frequent viewer and you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Check the bell icon to enable notifications. This way you don't miss out on any new videos from me. So this is front-facing video. I think the quality on the Realme here is better because it does have the electronic image stabilization. As you see as I walk down these stairs right here, it's a lot smoother than the K30 Pro here because of that, and just makes the footage a little bit more usable. Now audio on both of them, it's 320 kilobits per second, and I think both of them do have good quality microphones, so that is one thing there. In terms of exposure, I think it's actually better too here on the Realme. So I give the X3 Super Zoom here the win with the front-facing video vlog quality, that is. Now with the X3 Super Zoom here, just like the X50 Pro 5G from Realme, we do have this 8 megapixel front-facing ultra-wide, so you can fit so much more into this shot. It's good for group photos if you want to get a lot of people in. The quality isn't, however, as good as the main sensor. Rear main cameras now both 64 megapixels, so we've got the Samsung GW1 up against the Sony IMX686 with optical image stabilization. Superior stability on the Redmi K30 Pro Zoom here / Poco F2 Pro. But the Poco F2 Pro just has the electronic, but it'll be pretty similar to this. Now I've noticed that when you pan around on both of them, you will see some judder because of that electronic image stabilization that we do have here. So I'm just going to jog ahead just to demonstrate the stability and how good it is on the K30 Pro Zoom here. It is excellent, and it's about the same on the F2 Pro, I believe, because it has quite aggressive electronic image stabilization. Focus on both is good. Don't see any problems with focus, but definite win here for the K30 Pro Zoom with rear footage. So the Redmi K30 Pro Zoom Edition here does have one trick up its sleeve, and that is 8K video, which is actually 6K upscaled to 8K. I've proven this previously with the Xiaomi Mi 10. It has that optical image stabilization, but now it does not have any electronic image stabilization. But this quality is very sharp, even if you downscale it to 4K, or you can crop in. So this is ultra wide. The Xiaomi again is the clear winner here, the Redmi K30 Pro Zoom, because it has 4K ultra wide video. We're limited to just 1080p with the Realme X3 Super Zoom. Low light video now, 4K. So let me know in the comments which one here you think is the best, handling these difficult conditions for a tiny mobile phone sensor the best. I'm going to pan around here slowly. Now the street lights here in Europe, in Spain at least where I am, they are normally yellow down that street, so it should look yellow. We'll have a look at the electronic image stabilization too. Just walk forward a little. Onto the front-facing camera now. So what do you think? Which one here is looking the sharpest and the best to me? But it's hard just looking at the screens right now. I need to look at this on my PC. I think that the Redmi K30 Pro Zoom here is actually doing a better job. But the stabilization makes the footage maybe a little bit more usable on the X3 Super Zoom here. So I'm going to jog ahead. So what do you think of those photo samples there? I think they both do very good at daylight stills. It really depends on your personal preference there. It's very subjective, of course, what you prefer for portrait photos. When it comes to the front-facing cameras for portraits, I've noticed that the stitching, I think, is a little bit better with the 32 megapixel camera on the Realme X3 SuperZoom. I just think it does a bit better there. It certainly does better with front-facing video as well because it does have electronic image stabilization. I do hope that Xiaomi will get up with the times here, up with the play, and actually add that in future firmware updates that would really improve the quality, I feel. Now, audio is another thing that's very subjective, okay? So which one do you think sounded better in terms of audio with the video? I think it's a little clearer on the K30 Pro Zoom. They've both got very good mics, but some people may say that's a little too sensitive, the mic, and they could say that, well, the X3 maybe sounds a little bit better. So I'm gonna just draw that one there. I think, well, my preference is probably the K30 Pro Zoom there in terms of the audio quality in video. However, what about the stability? Excellent stability here. I mean, you cannot beat the combination of both optical and then electronic image stabilization with the K30 Pro Zoom. That is why it is just so steady. Even when I was jogging along, you saw those two people on the bikes there, and the footage was shaking around a little bit. Now, if you do take it very easy, handheld, with two hands, pan around very slowly and move slowly, you get very good stability on both of them. I did notice also that the X3 SuperZoom, I think the footage is a little bit sharper. Definitely, I've noticed out of the both of them, it is sharper. But of course, we have the 8K, well, it's actually 6K upscaled to 8K video with the K30 Pro. You also get it with the Poco F2 Pro, but the Poco F2 Pro doesn't have the optical image stabilization, so you will need a gimbal when recording 8K upscaled with the Poco F2 Pro, of course. Now, what about bright colors with the rear cameras? I found that the Sony IMX686 definitely is a superior sensor versus that Samsung, the ISOCELL GW1. I think it does a little bit better with the details. It's also the processing, of course, or mostly software side with Realme that tends to oversaturate and just clip a little bit the colors there. It doesn't show all the details with that red hibiscus flower that I did show you there. I think it came out a lot better with the, definitely with the Redmi there with the K30 Pro Zoom. Now, low light. Something's going on. I might have had a bit of a smear on the camera, but I don't think I did. We're seeing a lot of like lens flare kind of effect or flaring reflections showing up with low light photography from bright lights, street lamps and things like that. With the X3 Super Zoom was showing up in those stills there, which I don't know why that's happening, but it was there. I do notice though that the colors I think in low light are actually a little bit better on the X3 Super Zoom. So they're both kind of trading blows there. It really depends on what you want. And of course, the pop-up camera is not for everyone either with this one. But if you don't take a lot of selfies, it's definitely a good choice. So I think it boils down to that the winner I'm going to have to declare as definitely the K30 Pro Zoom edition here for that superior video quality, for the better low light and marginally better audio there. Portraits with the stitching, again, I think the stitching is a little bit better with the Realme there. So hopefully that makes it clear if you're considering both of these phones there, that which one you should go for. It really depends on what you take a lot of photos of. So if you're going to be taking a lot of ultra wides as well, definitely much better ultra wide quality, 13 megapixels versus the 8. It's not just because of the sensor, the megapixel amount there. No, it's more of the actual lens quality. I think the ultra wide lens and even the sensor too is just superior on the K30 Pro Zoom. So thank you so much for watching this comparison. Do check in my channel the full in-depth reviews of both of these phones here. So that's the X3 Super Zoom and the K30 Pro Zoom. And I'll see you back in the next video.